Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy morning to attend our webinar. So without further ado, we are going to get started. So thanks again for joining us. We are going to be going over today time-saving tips and tricks. We're going to be covering Microsoft Outlook, and I'm going to be demoing in Outlook 2010 so we can cover as many people as possible out there. Everything that we're going to be showing does also apply to 2013 and also 2016 if you have the newest version of Outlook that just recently came out. I'm also at the end going to show a couple specifics that are new in 2013 and then again new in 2016. So we're going to be covering lots of stuff that should apply to pretty much everybody out there. We're going to do a lot of hands-on demos, so we hope that everybody gets one time saver out of today. If so, we'll consider this a success. So without further ado, we are going to dive in and start saving you guys time. So let's cover Outlook navigation first. And a few things I'm going to get over in this demo are going to be using the folder list view to make sure you can see all of your content at once. The to-do bar, which was introduced in Outlook 2010. The quick access toolbar, which is not just an Outlook feature, it's a feature of all of the Microsoft Office suite of programs now, but I'm going to show you how you can use that to empower yourself in Outlook. So we'll switch over to Outlook and we'll do our demo here. So we've got our Outlook 2010 client up and running here. And first what I want to show everyone is my list on the left-hand side. Obviously you can see all of my folders. This is my mailbox. We've got lots of folders as you can see here, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. Please ignore how many emails I have down here. Pretend you don't see the 42,000. But please note that almost all of them are unread. So I do try to keep on top of my emails, get a lot of them. So when you're in Outlook 2010, your default view may look something like this, where you've got these big buttons on the bottom left, you've got some of your folders on the left-hand side in the middle, and then this favorites window in the top left. What we often hear for people is that it's difficult to find all of your stuff, and it can be sometimes difficult to organize better in this view. So first tip is I recommend you customizing your view to show folder list and give yourself as much real estate as possible. If you can see where my mouse is on the left, once I hover over the top of this button bar, it turns into a slider. So if I click and hold, you can drag that all the way to the bottom. These now turn into small little buttons instead of those big chunky menus. I will now click on this folder list icon and watch what this does on the left-hand side. This is going to change my Outlook view to what's called folder list. I love this view because it's going to show you all of your folders. We'll touch on them a little bit later, but also one of the things you don't see unless you use the folder list view is you won't see your public folders. So please note at the bottom, when I scroll down, now I can see our company public folders as well. So folder list, tip number one, because I think it's probably one of the more important things, is to get a nice base view set. Next is the to-do bar. This is the stuff on the right-hand side, and there are multiple components that make up the to-do bar. Great for people who are using calendars, tasks, or if not particularly using tasks, using emails flagged for follow-up. So let me show you how to turn the to-do bar on. If you click on View, again this applies to all versions of Outlook, you'll see the to-do bar, and you have a choice for Normal, which is what I've got here, Minimized, which as you can see kind of scoots it over to the side, but it shows you only one thing on each. I do like the Normal view myself because I got a lot going on over there. And then we have options to show the Date Navigator, Appointments, and Task List, which is all of these items. So the Date Navigator is your calendar here. Your appointment shows you your most recent appointments. Please note, as your monitors get bigger and your screen resolution goes up, it'll show you more and more appointments. If you've got a big enough monitor too, you can drag these items around to show even multiple days worth of appointments. Or if you prefer tasks, you can drag the tasks up so you can show more tasks at one time. So this is what I found to be the most productive view for myself, being a heavy email user, calendar user, and doing lots of flagging of emails as reminders. Next on is the Quick Access Toolbar. This is this nice little set of icons that Microsoft introduced in the newer versions of Office, which Outlook was one version behind to adopt. And what we've got by default is just a few buttons. Send and receive, which really won't do anything if you're a Microsoft Exchange user. That means that you have your own mail server or you're subscribed to a hosted Exchange type of service. There's undo. This is one of my favorites. Makes it easy to fix what you just did when you didn't want to do that. And then quick print. What this does is it prints to your default printer. But please notice there's this little down arrow. And when you hover over it, it says Customize Quick Access Toolbar. So if anybody was ever curious how you get more stuff up there, you click that down arrow. And right at the front here, you've got some icons you can choose to add. Now, I'm not going to choose any of these. I'm going to show you what else is available. When you click on More Commands, you'll get this big window to pop open. And what Microsoft has done here is just given you a shortcut right going through the program options to get into the Quick Access Toolbar options itself. And they're also nice enough to start us with a list of what they call the most popular commands. So in here, we've got quick shortcuts to turn on our out of office, which I love. We've got quick access to delete, empty our recycle bin, all new items that you can think of. So for this example, I'm just going to add new appointments, new contacts, new email, new tasks, and you'll see they appear over here once you click add. You can highlight any item and drag them up and down if you wish. I'm going to put my new email at the top, and when you're done, you click OK. Now before I click OK, I just want to show you if you press this drop down, there's lots and lots more you can go to choose to put in this quick access toolbar. But I usually add stuff out of the popular commands first and see if that fits your needs. You can spend a lot of time in there trying to look for the commands that you like. So I'll hit OK. And now as you can see, I've got my new menu options. Click on this, you can see it does work. And what's nice is those options are going to stay every time you open Microsoft Outlook. So that's our quick run through on navigation. So we'll flip back to our slides here and continue. So now let's talk about getting organized. This is a big one for me because I do have so many emails like a lot of you out there. So I'm going to go over setting up folders in Outlook, how to get better organized with folders, dabble in rules and alerts, and then talk about views. What I want to make sure that I get across here, and I'm going to show you how to make sure it's turned off too, is I highly encourage everyone to turn off your reading pane in Microsoft Outlook. That is the one thing that I'm going to do today that's going to make you like one click less productive, but that's a big safety thing. So I'll explain that in a sec. So if we switch back over to Outlook again, let's talk organization. So what I'm going to do for you is by looking at my folders, I'm just going to collapse my inbox so you can see my general set of folders here. So what you'll notice at first is I've got my inbox, drafts, sign items, you know, the stuff that Outlook comes built in with. But what I want to do is I want to give myself subfolders. And I use my inbox for all my emails, but you can create subfolders above that if you want as well. So to make a new folder above it, you just right click on your mailbox, say new folder, and let's just call this one test. So now my test folder appeared at the bottom, but let's say I wanted that in my inbox instead. I will do the same right on my inbox. So I'll right click, new folder, and I'll just call this one test 2. Now you see I have test 2 in my inbox. And as you can see, what I've done is basically try to come up with categories for my different types of emails, and then even have some folders inside of folders. So I get a lot of alerts, and I get so many that I didn't want them all jumbled up into one spot. So what I did is I made alerts from our alarm system, I made alerts from our network management console, and I made alerts from our smart management program itself. Our management program is called ConnectWise that we use for tickets, kind of like your agency management system. So I get a lot of ConnectWise emails too, so I made lots of different subfolders for my ConnectWise emails to go into. That's why I use folder lists, because I have so many folders. It helps me see them all at once and at a quick glance know where things are. So creating subfolders is great. It helps get organized, but we're going to talk about rules and alerts and how we can then automatically organize ourselves. I can take any one of these emails and drag and drop them into a folder if I needed. Sorry, Michael, your email is going to go into our alarm system folder for a test here. So by doing that, you can see that Michael's email is now in there. But let's say instead, I want to have those go to a folder automatically. That's where rules and alerts come in. Now, from inside of an email, you can create rules and alerts right from here. But I'm going to show you how you can do it on a bigger scale with more options. So you can always do it right through your email and click Create Rule. I'm going to show you the bigger way, which gives you more choices. So I'm going to click on Rules from my ribbon. Again, you've got the same option here. I'm going to click Manage Rules and Alerts. And this is going to take us to the full option. Sorry, I'm going to go back online here. I had myself offline. Do have to be online to do your rules. So I'm going to manage rules and alerts, and now you get this rules and alerts wizard. So here's a list of my email rules, and for the demo purposes, I'm going to make a new one. So we have lots of choices once I click New Rules, and the top section is they're nice enough to say these are the things that are going to help you stay organized. So what you can do is move messages from someone to a folder. In this case, that's what I've done with most of my rules. I'll move this to the side so you can see an example. So for example, if we get an alert from our alarm system, what I did is I made a rule that says emails from alerts at this go to my alarm system folder. So I'll do something like that in this demo. So I will leave that option, click Next. And now here's my conditions. This is what do I want to happen this rule will latch onto, if you will. So I'm going to say, what do I want to check if it's from a certain people or group? And then down at the bottom, this is when you make your choices. So I'll click this people and groups, and I will choose someone from the list. Now, if I wanted to do more items, like only if it's from Fran, and the importance is marked as high. So this might be urgent emails from Fran. I want to go to a different folder so they don't get lost in my inbox with lots of other things. So you can, as you can see, set lots of conditions all at one time. Really, there's no limit. I recommend keeping them to 2 or 3. Otherwise, you're going to end up with so many rules, you're going to forget what they do. And now what I'll do is, okay, apply this rule when messages arrive from Fran, marked for action, and that are high importance. Move them to a specified folder. Let's move them to the root of my alerts folder, because these are important. So from here I can click Finish and that's it, or I've got room for more stuff. So if I can click Next. Oh, sorry, I've got flagged for action. I'm just going to remove that one to move on here quickly. And then what do you want to do with these messages? I've got it moved to a folder, and you can do other stuff too, as you can see. You might choose to print it, play a sound, set other categories and so on. For the demo here, short and sweet, I'm going to just say Next. And then you can even make exceptions. I'll click Finish here, and now my rule has been created. What I would recommend now is if you're making a rule, it's probably because you've identified that, gee, I get a lot of these things. So I would say you want to start by running your rule now, and that'll help you do an inbox cleanup for things that have already applied to your rule. So if you click this, click Run Rules Now, check your rules and hit Run. This will make your rule go through all of your existing emails. You can choose Include Subfolders if you've already got some too and you want to move things from one folder to another. So that is Rules and Alerts. Want to show you quickly how to customize your views. You click on View up here. The important thing I wanted to show you in views is we do encourage everyone to turn off your reading pane, and this is for security reasons. I know it is convenient to sometimes have those emails on the right or in the bottom without having to click on them, but this is one of those things where I'm going to say an extra click where you have to double click your email to open it is definitely worth the security. So under Views, to turn off your reading pane, click on Reading Pane, simply choose Off. And that's one of those settings that it will remember too once you've done it once. Another little organizational tip is, as you can see, I've got lots and lots of emails, and I've only got a few that are marked unread. What I do is once I read emails, I mark them unread if I still need to do something with them if I'm going to do it soon. Otherwise, I'm going to leave them unread and just flag them for follow-up, tomorrow or in the future. So as you can see, I had 42,000 emails and only 4 were unread. Those are items that I'm still going to be addressing the quickest of any of my emails. The ones that aren't going to be so quick, I will flag for later. And I use the shortcut key of Control-U. So with any email highlighted, hit Control-U, and that'll take you right to the automatically unread status. Let's talk about Office or Outlook options. And I want to make sure everybody is not afraid of diving in there. Often the things people are looking for are right there in front. We just sometimes intimidated to dig through all those things. So I'm going to quickly give you a list of options that I see as great time savers. You can look at mail options for doing things like spell checking before a message leaves, adding your signatures, changing what happens when messages arrive, going through replies and forwards, how to auto-save messages, where it would, after a few minutes, save in a draft. And also do things in calendars, like setting your work time in your work schedule and automatically adding holidays. So let's show you how to do those items. So to get to options, this is going to be the same again for all the newer versions of Outlook. Click on File and go to Options. And then this thing opens up. As you can see, the options is split into lots of different categories. And I want to show you the mail and calendar options. I think these are the quickest options for productivity savers. So I'm going to click Mail. And the first one is spell check. So a lot of people love this option here, always check spelling before sending. So this is where it's going to pop up and give you all the warnings before you send. Check that, and then it'll do it automatically. For manipulating your own signatures, you just simply click on Signatures, and this will open up the signature editor. If you want to create new signatures, you just click New here, give it a name. We'll call this one our test, and then create your signature down here. You've got these rich formatting options, just like you do in Microsoft Word, to give it a little bit of flair. And then once you've created your new signature, as you can see over here on the right, you've got an option of which ones you want to make your default. You can also default them, if you wish, for replies and forwards. Not quite as common, because in big email threads, you often don't want to have to see somebody's signature 14 times. So I see most people do this, but that's how you manipulate your signatures. There's some neat options for message arrival here. We'll often see people turn off play as sound if you like having your speakers on all the time, but don't like those little annoying sounds that happen often. There are some other options that do indicate that you do have new messages. There's show an envelope in the taskbar, and also display a desktop alert. That desktop alert is when you get your little pop-up down here in the bottom right that gives you a quick preview of what message just came in. Show you some options for replies and forwards. This is one of my personal favorites, and every time I get a new computer, this is the first thing that I do. Under replies and forwards, I will come in and check this box that says close original message when replying or forwarding. So what that does is when you're reading an email, you click reply, you send it, and now you're back to your inbox, rather than having to then close the item that you've just replied to. Just a quick little time saver. And under save messages, here's another nice one. Automatically save items that have not been sent after this many minutes, and it's by default 3. I would recommend everybody always have this checked. This is nice if you get busy and you want to keep off where you left off, but you don't have to remember to save your emails. It does it for you. If you do that often or are composing longer emails, I would even recommend you lower this. You can go down to 1 minute. So it'll automatically save all your emails that you haven't sent yet. We'll look at a couple quick calendar options here. You'll notice that right under the calendar options, you've got settings for work hours. So as you're looking in your calendar, it's going to gray out the stuff that's not in your work hours by default. So as you can see here, I've got mine set 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. So by default, my calendars always show open at those times. And then under calendar options, neat little option here to click add holidays, and it lets you add holidays from lots of different locales, and it automatically puts them in there for you. You don't need to remember to put them there. When you're all done in options, just make sure you hit OK, and you are out and ready to go. go over a quick few email composition items. We'll talk about autofilling of addresses. I know this is an important one for everybody, me included. Talk to you about something called quick parts. Talk about BCC in the from fields and receipts. So we're going to talk about composing an email here. I'm going to open it up. I personally live by my autofill. It's one of those things like you've got to be careful because as you can see, when I type B, I've got lots of B's out there. Same when I want to send an email to Matt. I've got lots of Matts in my list. So first thing to be aware of is the way autofill addresses work. Microsoft kind of has this little built-in database in the background that will store up to 1,000 addresses that you've recently emailed. Now, they've got this little built-in algorithm that will determine that once you hit 1,000, who they will auto-delete. So if you're ever noticing that, gee, so-and-so is in my autofill and now they're not there anymore, that means your autofill database probably hit 1,000 entries, and Microsoft is going to start trimming. Every time you send an email, it'll trim somebody off that list. So that's how the way autofill addresses work. If you have contact lists with lots of people in them and they don't pop up in autofill, a little shortcut here, let's say we're going to email Linda. I don't have a Linda in my contact list, by the way, but this will be my example. You can press Control-K on your keyboard, and as you can see, what that does is that automatically goes out and tries to find Lindas that are in my contact book. So if it doesn't autofill, start typing and press Control-K, and that will force an autofill. Now, we've got our attendee in there. We've got a nice email subject. We'll pretend, of course. I want to show you a way that you can really speed up composing of emails. I know you probably send a lot of the same emails day in and day out, you know, whether it's renewal time, thank you for the opportunity for a quote, those kind of things. So Microsoft built in something called quick parts. And that's a little shortcut to throw a lot of stuff in an email real quick. So if you go under Insert, I'm going to choose quick parts, and I've got one made for this webinar already. I will just click webinar thanks, and boom, look what I got. I've got a big email that says thank you for joining us for our webinar. It'll be posted online. I talk about our upcoming webinars for July and August and give a little closing. So wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that, have kind of a canned thank you email that you can then add on to and personalize. So what you do to make a quick part is anything you want to type, and I'm going to say hello world. You highlight whatever you typed, go up to Insert, Quick Parts, and click Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. Give it a name. It'll name it to the title of at the start of what you typed. Click OK. So now if I delete that and go up to Insert Quick Parts, there's my hello world. So quick parts are a great time saver if you're sending a lot of the same emails over and over. Last thing I want to show you for email composition, under Options, you may have seen often read receipts and delivery receipts, but often wondered how you put them in there. You go in here by checking these boxes. A delivery receipt is a notification that the email got to that person's email system, and a read receipt is a receipt saying that they opened the email. Now, please be aware, unfortunately, people do have the ability to turn these off either at the server level or say no in their Outlook for read receipts. So you're still not always going to get them. I would set a company policy if it's something you're going to do to say that you need to accept read receipts for people at your level and higher. It's often just a good email etiquette thing to do anyways. So there's a few email composition tips for you. Here's a great one, and we've used this at our company for a long time. I'll give you some email subject acronyms. This just helps make it so you don't have to spend so much time in email. So as you're typing out your email, if you're just making a statement in your subject, I would use the acronym EOM, and that stands for end of message. You can go ahead and Google it too. Just Google what does EOM mean, and you'll see that is a widely accepted thing saying end of message. Now, unfortunately, not everybody knows about it, but it is a pretty general thing. So if you're just going to say, hey, Wayne, we're all set for this month's webinar. Thanks for the info, EOM. Wayne knows then, oh, okay, I'm all set. I don't even need to open this email since it says EOM in the subject. The subject was it. Here's another one, NTN, no thanks necessary. Oftentimes you're not sure if somebody got your email because you're expecting a thanks, but sometimes you don't want to have them bother, and then they reply just saying thanks, and then you take your time to open the reply to see if they have something meaningful to say when they're just giving you a courtesy thank you. So if you want to save yourself and them some time, NTN, no thanks necessary. And then similar to that is NRN, no response necessary or no reply necessary. Those would be often like an FYI type of things, but they do have lots of info in the message body. You want them to read it, so you just put NRN, but don't necessarily need them to respond. So you'll find those tips and a lot of other great email time savers in a book out there called The Hamster Revolution. We actually have all of our new hires go through and listen to this in audiobook as part of orientation. We find it so valuable. So that's The Hamster Revolution. Great book. It's a easy read and a quick read as well. So let's talk about calendar appointments. Calendar appointments, you may have not known that you can actually drag items right from your inbox to your calendar. It'll take whatever in that email and make it an appointment for you. I'm going to show you something called the Scheduling Assistant. And then lastly, how to do recurrences. So let's go into my calendar. So here's my calendar, and I'm going to make a new appointment for this afternoon. Just go here and double click and drag that over here so you all can see it. So I'll give it a subject, and I want to show you how the Scheduling Assistant works. You can click Invite Attendees, and that just gives you this to field. But Scheduling Assistant is much more powerful. What this does is as you add different recipients, we'll add Jerry, and as you can see, I just started typing again and hit Control K because that does my lookup. And we'll add Wayne. What the Scheduling Assistant does is at a glance it shows you the status of everyone else's calendar as long as you've got permission to see them. So that makes it easier to find times. So, cool little tool. And then recurrences. For those of you that have daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly meetings and so on, you can set up recurrences. A lot of people already know this and do this, but what you do is click recurrence. You can set your start time, end time. Do you want to make it a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? And your options do change for whichever you pick. So if we want to make it monthly, we'll say the fourth Wednesday or fourth Tuesday of every 2 months. That's how you make a bi-monthly appointment. When do you want it to start? How many occurrences? And then when do you want to end? You click OK, and then it's done. When you're all done, simply click Save. So that's how you set up a recurring meeting. I want to show you one other thing for recurring meetings. So I set up myself a recurring meeting as a reminder every morning to go through my OneNote meeting notes just to see what I've flagged for importance. When you open a recurring meeting, you get options of do I want to open this occurrence or the series. Using this function lets you put specifics on every different instance of a recurring meeting without editing the future ones. So, neat little ways to get through more efficiencies in your calendars. Couple of quick little did you knows here for you before we get close to wrapping up. Did you know you can update the subject of an email in your mailbox? Let me show you. I actually learned this one by watching somebody quite a few years back now. But when you open up an email, watch this. I can just delete what's on the subject and say test. Save it. Close it. Now it says test. Now, why is that useful? Well, maybe the user didn't put a subject on their email, but you want to be able to search for it more easily later. So you can edit the subject of emails. I think it's a great, useful tool for being able to find emails later when people sometimes don't put the best subjects in their emails. The next one, delayed send. This is nice, so you might want to to have an email go out, but you're not quite ready for them to get it, you might just say, hey, I'm working on something for next week, and I'm just going to forget to send this email next week if I don't do something with it now. So let's flip back over to Outlook and quickly compose an email. So if you go under Options, there's a Delay Delivery option over here. This is great. What you can do is click Delay Delivery. It says, do not deliver this before next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Click Close, and then you click Send. Now, I know a lot of people are afraid to do this at the start. What I would recommend, just for your own peace of mind, is send yourself one, and you delay it by half an hour or 10 minutes, just so you can see that it really does work. And then click that, click Send. Your message will be sent later. Cool tool. You've heard me mention shortcut keys a couple times in the webinar already, and I'm going to give you guys a list of useful shortcut keys here. From anywhere in Outlook, if you want to search, just press Control-E, and that takes you automatically to your search bar, so you don't have to go up and move your mouse and click Search and start typing. If you want to compose an email, Control-Shift-M as in Message, and that'll open up the new email window automatically. I know there's a lot to write down, by the way, here, so don't worry. I'm going to tell you how to find these on your own, too. If you want to send an email, once you're composing, you press Alt-S. So instead of having to go up and click Send, you press Alt-S. And you might say, gee, it doesn't take a lot of time to just move your mouse and click. But if you do 40 emails a day, that means you're eliminating 80 clicks because you're just pressing keys on the keyboard and then continue typing right as you go. If you're reading an email, you want to reply, Control-R. Create an appointment, Control-Shift-A for appointment. Save and close your appointment, Alt-S. Now, again, you're probably not going to have time to write all these down. What I would recommend, just do a Google search for Outlook 2010 shortcut keys, or if you're using Outlook 2013, Outlook 2013 shortcut keys. There are lots of articles that have them out there. I would recommend you read the one that says it's from Microsoft's website. You know that those are always going to be accurate. Last little time saver for you here. And here's another did you know that the average person types at 40 words a minute? And this is the professional who uses a computer throughout the day. But the average person reads at 300 words per minute. So such a big disconnect there. That probably means it takes us a heck of a lot longer to compose our emails than people are taking to read them. Did you know you can do voice dictation? Apple didn't invent this with Siri. It's been around for a long time. It's actually built into Windows. So if you didn't know, if you have a microphone, in Windows you can go to your Programs menu, Accessories, Ease of Access, and Windows Speech Recognition. Turn on your Windows Speech Recognition, and you can start dictating right to Outlook. Average person, again, talks. Actually, I think some people have somebody in their office who talks like 600 words a minute, right? So think of how much faster you can compose your emails by dictating. There's also a program out there called Dragon Naturally Speaking. If you're going to get this, there are multiple different versions. We recommend the Pro version. It's got more features, a better database. A big recommendation too, if you are going to do voice dictation, we recommend not using a Bluetooth microphone. Their range just isn't that great, nor is their bandwidth. You're better off using a wired microphone or an IR microphone for the best quality. We'll do one quick slide here on mastering collaboration. So, did you know you can actually vote or conduct polls in an email right through Outlook? This feature's been out there for quite a while, but it's not often used. I'm going to show you real quick how to do calendar sharing and grouping, how to access public folders, and then a couple of quick email etiquette tips. So if you want to conduct a poll in an email, compose an email, go to Options, and then there's this neat little option that says Use Voting Buttons. You've got Approve, Reject, Yes or No, Maybe, or Custom. So why would I do this? Well, Yes or No is simply, I'm going to send this to all employees and going to say, who wants pizza? and people are then going to choose to accept or reject. They will have buttons to choose from. You can also make your own. What do you want on your pizza? And then you can simply add them by just semicolon pepperoni. Okay. We know we take a lot of time to figure out what we want for lunch sometime. This is one of the ways I've seen it. But you might also do, hey, what's most important for our meeting agenda this month? And then you put 7 choices and people vote and you pick up those items. So that's how you do voting. Show you how to work with other people's calendars real quick. So to get through other people's calendars, a great way to do this is to go into Outlook, other calendars. You right click, say add calendar from address book, and you can choose to view anyone's calendar. Now if you don't have permission, it will generate a request. But here's a cool feature that'll make that even quicker. Let's say you want to be able to view all the salespeople's calendars together. What you can do is come up here to calendar groups, click create new group, call it sales, and then you can choose to put your salespeople in this group. Let's just add a few names here for the list. Click group members, click OK. And now as you can see, I've got the sales group down here. I can view individuals, or if I click this, boom, all in one shot, I get all the salespeople. Makes collaborating with multiple people a lot quicker. And then the last thing to touch on is a quick little email etiquette primer. I felt that I couldn't get through today's webinar without touching on this. You know, a lot of people in the insurance world still use all caps for things in the management system. Let's make sure we're not doing that in emails. It's often thought of as yelling, even if that's not your intent. I found an interesting poll online too that was conducted by a place called Sidekick. And they just polled people for what their pet peeves are. And this is why I showed you some of the tips that I showed you. You know, when you're using poor grammar, it just, you know, that actually made the list as the biggest item in the email. That's why I love having that spell check on before I send. Other ones up here that are interesting is receiving email during non-business hours. You know, a great time to, you know, compose your email to have it delivered in the morning. I think gone are the days where it's not normal for people to be emailing all night. I think that is perfectly normal. You know, I've even seen studies where it's shown that people are more productive when they're doing a lot of emailing at night because they've had a chance to think about things. You'll see, be happy to see that too many acronyms is at the bottom of that list. So people would value that EOM if you do give those to them. We're going to close with just showing you a couple quick tips for Outlook 2013 and then Outlook 2016 if you're users that are on those. All the tips that I showed you today are still there and you get a couple extras. So here's a neat one in 2013. Now you have the option to actually flag, delete, or mark your messages unread just by hovering over them. So if you haven't noticed that before, you see those few buttons on the top right. You can simply hover over them or click that little flag, and it will flag your messages without having to even open it up. Also, a great little feature, you can show all your messages or just filter to unread now with this little item that's going to be at the top of your list of emails on a per folder basis. So neat little feature in Outlook 2013. And one more, calendar sneak peek. So on the bottom left of Outlook 2013, they got rid of the vertical view of the buttons now and have them in a horizontal view. But what I love is if you don't want to take up the screen real estate for having your to-do bar on the right, you can hover over calendar and it will show you what you would normally see in the to-do bar. Outlook 2016 people, I won't leave you out. I've got a few new improved items for you. This is actually a new addition to Outlook 2016, so make sure your IT company is patching your systems. And as of February, you would have gotten this new feature where you can actually create groups. So do new email groups, new calendar groups right from your ribbon now. There's a groups ribbon. This is one that I use all the time on my work computer. In Outlook 2016, it is now aware of all the files you've recently saved in different Microsoft Office programs. So when you go over to Insert and you hover over the attached file, from all your different Office programs, it shows you shortcuts to all the different files you've been manipulating lately. Most often, you're going to save a file and then go to attach it in Outlook, and it's going to be there in the list for you already. Great feature. And last but not least, Microsoft did bring back a little bar. Tell me what you want to do. Anybody remember that annoying little paperclip from like 1995? They basically brought them back, but smarter. This is the same as the integration with like Siri on your phone. This just packs it right into Outlook. So if you're looking for how to do something or how to print from here, or why is my column missing, you can type it right in there. It is a lot better than that paperclip guy used to be. So thank you everyone for joining us. I know I threw a lot at you quickly. We could probably do another hour on this, but we do know people's time is valuable. So we thank you again for your time. Please look forward to our future webinars. I mentioned them earlier. We're going to talk about email archiving and backups and data retention. And then also going to be doing a webinar on 30 minutes to creating a SharePoint intranet for your agency.